All right. Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see all your faces. My name is Annie Gilbert Coleman. I'm director of the minor in sport, media, and culture at Notre Dame. And I'm over the moon to welcome you to our second alumni careers panel that's sponsored by the SMAC minor and also the Marilou Center for Career Development. I'd like to give a special shout out to Dorothy Kozak, who's been just great to work with, hooking us up with Notre Dame alumni. And I just love the community that we have here. And we have three alumni career panels this fall. We did one a couple weeks ago about working for pro sports teams and pro sports leagues. Today is about women in the sports industry, a variety of sports tech, sports communications, and youth sports nonprofits. And on November 14th, we're going to have our third alumni career Zoom panel, which is more specifically about sports media. There's tons of overlap, so you're welcome to join us. Just visit the SMAC events page to register. So next up, I'd like to introduce our student moderator, who is Maria Wainscot. She's a senior. She's an American Studies major, also doing pre-law, and she's a SMAC minor. She's from Cincinnati, and she's just been an amazing example of Notre Dame woman on the front lines of sports broadcasting. She's a student sideline producer for Notre Dame football on NBC. She also produces Big Ten football games. What else do we want to say? She was a recording artist for many years. Didn't know that. She ran Notre Dame television, wrote for The Observer and The Scholastic, broadcast for WVFI Sports Radio, and is working for Fighting Irish Media as a host for the Notre Dame men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, and hockey. So we're delighted to have Maria be the moderator for today. And so, having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Maria. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I am so thrilled and so honored to be with you all here today to moderate this wonderful panel of incredible women in sports. Here at Notre Dame, we talk a lot about doing good in the world. And you ladies have shown what it looks like to do good within your respective fields. So I thank you so much for being an example, not only to me as a woman in sports, but to everyone here today and everyone you come in contact with. So I would like to begin by briefly introducing our esteemed panel this evening, starting with Ms. Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross is an Emmy Award-winning sports reporter, as well as the founder and president of GameDay Communications, based in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ross was one of the first women to break into national sports news, working as an anchor at ESPN for 5 years after a 7-year stint at NBC News Channel and Cincinnati's NBC affiliate WLWT-TV, where she covered the 1996 presidential election and the inauguration, as well as the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games and the Olympic trials. She continues to be involved in sports broadcasting for ESPN, Fox Sports, and other national and regional outlets. She also notably authored the book Playing Ball with the Boys, The Rise of Women in Men's Sports in 2010. Welcome, Betsy. We are so thrilled to have you here with us today.
Maria, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Next, I'd like to introduce Miss Marilou McFarlane. She is the CEO and founder of Women in Sports Tech, the nonprofit organization offering strategies and programs for businesses in the $42 billion sports tech industry to diversify talent pipelines and create more inclusive cultures. Women in Sports Tech has provided over 100 summer internships to college, graduate, and PhD students through their flagship Women in Sports Tech Fellowship Program, and built a community of over 100,000 executives and students in the sports tech industry. So Marilou, thank you so much for being here with us this evening.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm so excited about this conversation and a chance to meet all of you. And I want to shout out Maddicat, one of our WIS fellows from this summer, for bringing me in to meet all of you. Thanks for having me.
Next, I'd love to introduce Miss Amy Cooper Collier. She is the founder and executive director of Girls on the Run Michiana, part of the national nonprofit organization that designs programming to strengthen 3rd to 8th grade girls' social, emotional, physical, and behavioral skills so that they can successfully navigate life experiences. Meeting in small teams, trained volunteer coaches inspire team members with and without disabilities to gain confidence and other important life skills through dynamic, interactive lessons and physical activity. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Maria. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. And finally, I would like to introduce Ms. Kristin Sheehan. She has served as the program director of the Play Like a Champion Today educational series since its inception in 2006. She leads all partner relations, coordinates all educational programs, and she spearheads the development of new curricula. The program's mission is to elevate the culture of youth sport and to be character-focused and wholly developmental in nature, as well as accessible to all children, regardless of their family's income or their athletic ability. Since its inception, the program has trained 150,000 coaches and sports parents all across the country. Kristin has co-authored numerous articles and the recent book, Play Like a Champion, Following the Vatican's Lead to Elevate the Culture of American Sport. Kristin, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Maria, thank you. It's a true pleasure.
Yes. All right. As I mentioned prior, we are all so excited to have this panel tonight, and we are looking forward to learning from you. So I will ask a couple of questions, and then hopefully we can leave some room at the end for questions from the gallery, for any members who have joined us today that have specific questions for you guys. I would like to start by asking you all what specifically you do in your role and what your day-to-day looks like at work. And Betsy, we can start with you and then make our way down the line.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Maria. Well, Maria knows a little bit about our day-to-day because she joined us this summer when we were working with the LPGA Media Day here in Cincinnati. So Maria was good enough to help us with that. I think that the beauty of what so many of us do is that there's not really a set routine. No day is really like another day. There are so many variables, I think, that go on in all of our days. Like, for example, if we do have an event, much of what we do that particular day is set up, and then you execute the event, and then you tear down the event. So it's, it looks a whole lot of fun when you do have an event, but somebody's got to put it up, somebody's got to take it down. So that's one part of it. For example, on Monday was a day of meetings. Our company, GameDay Communications, we handle PR and events for many companies, nonprofits, events here in Greater Cincinnati. And so a lot of that is meetings. Today, we had a morning meeting with one of our clients, Summer Fair, which is a curated arts fair that happens in June. We had a meeting with her to redo her website. And so not every day is going to look the same as the next day. But overall, I can say that what we do, and I think that everybody on the panel probably feels the same way, what we do overall is just try to do the best we can for our clients. Our clients come first. And when we started our company, GameDay, we thought it was going to be a PR company and maybe do some media training. And after a while, clients would come to us and say, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? Can you help us with social media? Can you help us with graphics? And the more we listened to our clients, then we reacted by bringing people with those skills on. So whatever we do in whatever area we are, I think that our main goal is to serve our clients and probably most importantly, listen to our clients. We would not have expanded the way we have if we had not listened to our needs. And I think that probably everybody feels the same way. It's so important to listen what your clients need and want, and then make sure that you fulfill that.
That's great. Thank you. Marilou, can we hop to you next?
You bet. So I run a nonprofit that I founded called Women in Sports Tech, which I know you said in the introduction. And we are a nonprofit that was founded out of my own annoyance, irritation. I'm not sure how you would describe that, but I've worked in this industry for over 14 years before sports tech was even a thing. And I've worked mostly on the athlete performance side of the business. I've led really innovative startups, done some really interesting things. And my annoyance that I was the only woman in the room for many, many meetings, conferences, investor meetings, everywhere that I went until about 6-7 years ago when I founded WIST. So I run this nonprofit, and our mission is to empower transformative growth opportunities for women and employers at this unique intersection of sports, tech, and innovation. We do this work by developing and delivering innovative programs that allow employers to identify amazing talent, just like all of you women in this program, and then also have women understand the array and the variety of amazing opportunities there are in this industry. So our two main stakeholders are corporate partners who work in this industry and are looking for diverse talent, and then also women, and at this point also many, many former WIS fellows, women in the community who we continue to mentor after they have gone through the fellowship program. So my days can be very busy talking with corporate partners like Comcast Sports Tech, Nike, NBA, Catapult, long list of amazing people that we work with, but also continuing to really stay in touch and take feedback from the women and students in our community, because we want you to know about our WIS Fellowship program, which we're heading into our 7th year. And I can tell you more about that in a little bit, but my days, like you, Betsy, they're different. There are lots of meetings, but I also try and make sure I have focused time where I can actually get work done and do the kind of thought leadership work that some of our partners would like us to do. So it's I didn't aspire to this, but here I am. It's a second nonprofit that I've led, and we run it very much like a for-profit startup. So you would still call us a startup, but we are constantly learning and iterating on the work that we do, and really look forward to welcoming all of you to WIST, because we are an open, free community, and there's a join us button on our homepage, and that's where you'll find about all kinds of opportunities in sports tech, where we've been, events where this will be included in our next month's newsletter. So I think that might answer your question for now. I think it's really important. I know those of you who are runners, I run or swim or do something every day for my own mental health. I think if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. And that's actually when I have my best thoughts and my best ideas and solve problems that maybe aren't as big a problem once I go for a run and try to put it in perspective. So thank you. I think it's hopefully that answers the question.
Definitely does.
A
100%.
lot of different things.
Yes, thank you so much. That was so insightful. I love to hear about your personal experience also. That certainly helps me get my thoughts together also going for a run. Amy, let's hop to you.
There we go. Had to unmute. Yeah, that's a great note to move to Girls on the Run, I suppose. The Girls on the Run mission is basically to give girls all the skills and tools that most women wish they would have had before they went to middle school. And so we're leveraging the power of sport, leveraging games and activities that creatively weave running into the program as a way to inspire joy and health and confidence in these girls, to help teach them how to deal with gossip and peer pressure, how to stand up for themselves, know that they're beautiful just as they are, know how to resolve conflict. All of these great skills and tools that really aren't taught directly anywhere else. And we use the power of running as a way to do that, as opposed to like just sit and listen to a lecture. So I agree with Betsy and Marilou 100% that no day is like another one. And I think that's part of the excitement of all of this. I came to Girls on the Run in a really kind of roundabout way. I had volunteered with the organization when I was living in other parts of the country. And when I moved back to the South Bend area, after about 15 years after graduation, the first thing I did was call the national organization and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer. I wasn't exactly sure what my next career was going to be. I had a background as a family counselor, and the national organization said, well, there's not a council there to volunteer with. Would you like to start one? And I had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and moving boxes everywhere, and just knew that I was so passionate about this mission that it was something that I wanted to do. So as the executive director of a small to mid-sized nonprofit, we have a very small but mighty staff. And our goal is to serve as many kids as we can in our 5-county footprint that really is St. Joe County and then 4 neighboring counties. We started with 12 girls on one team, and a little bit over a decade later, we're serving about 1,200 girls per year here in the greater South Bend area. So I really think of my role as a matchmaker. I'm connecting volunteers who want to make a difference in the lives of kids, a lot of times because they are runners or just sport has been important to them, connecting those volunteers with our program, connecting with sponsors. We have a local shoe store called Fleet Feet that is partnering with us to provide a free pair of running shoes to any coach that signs up for our program, any one of our mentor coaches this year. And, then also matchmaking with school districts and with donors and anyone who just wants to be part of the mission of this organization. It's my job to see how they can come in and partner with us to make a difference in how all the different gears work together. So it really is kind of that bird's eye view or that bigger picture view that is a really fun space to be in.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing what you do. I know it makes a huge impact on our local community. Kristin, let's hop to you and talk a little bit about what you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. So I have excuse me, I'm kind of struggling with a cold. I guess 'tis the season for that, right? So as the director of the Play Like a Champion educational series, and we also are a nonprofit, we were founded in 2006, and it was an offshoot of the research that Notre Dame professor Clark Power engaged in regarding the world of youth sport that revealed a lot of challenges in youth sport. And so he created this educational series to elevate sport so that the adults in the sport environment were trained intentionally to not only be appropriate with the children, but also have intentional tools from sports psychology to know how to really engage athletes in full character development. And so on a day-to-day basis, I work to make sure our curriculum is up to speed. We're constantly evolving it. I work with our 250 partners to support them in training their coaches, their parents. And I'm also seeking new partners often, trying to bring in new people to our community. And we do call ourselves a community because we're working together as a national organization to bring sport to local levels in a more positive way. We do also conduct evaluative research with every one of our workshops. And so I spend time analyzing that data, ensuring that our partners are getting across the correct messages and that our workshops are making sport a more fun and developmentally focused place for youth. So something that we started about 10 years ago was in response to the change in the industry due to travel team proliferation. And that is what we call pay to play sports. Youth sports is a $19 billion industry with 45 million participants. So this is $19 billion is more than the NFL. And so there are a lot of programs and a lot of people profiting off of our children. And so we embraced an initiative, and the result of that is children from low income families are often left out of sport and they don't even have an opportunity to be a part of a team. And we saw the social injustice of that and said, we have to do better as a country that we've taken away a children's opportunity to play. And we say it's a child's right to play. Who are we as grownups to take that away? And so I spent a lot of my time too helping to continue an initiative called A Team for Every Child. And we started with this initiative in North Lawndale, which is a neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. And we brought together all the providers of free sport for children in that neighborhood. And we created an association called the North Lawndale Athletic and Recreation Association. And what we do is by bringing people together in an association, you are able to show the collective impact by collecting the data from all of the organizations. So you collect data from one organization, but if you collect it from all 20 or 30 that are involved in the association, you have more power in those numbers to show the collective impact for the children in that community. So we have a second association site that's right here in South Bend the Michiana Athletic and Recreation Association. And we've begun our work there, and I spend a lot of time with our local sport leaders. Amy is one of our partners with Mara, to say, what do we have available for our children here in South Bend, and what else do we need? And how can we bring that to our children together to make sport more accessible?
That is so amazing. I know we learned a lot about the politics of participation in Miss Annie Coleman's class here at Notre Dame. So definitely making that, very much apparent to folks everywhere, and especially in our South Bend community. I think that's incredibly important. You are all so empowering. Thank you all for being so open and sharing your unique experiences about working in your industries. I'm so amazed by the continuities that I hear from talking about sports media, sports tech, youth sports, and the equities that need to belong in each of those areas. And you're also successful in what you do. So I'd like to segue the conversation to talking about how you arrived where you are. I know that that is a super loaded question, but we have a lot of students here with us today, and I'd love for you to share with them any tips or advice that you might have about getting involved. We would appreciate anything that you can share with us about how you went from college, where many of us are, to where you are now. So feel free to take your time with this question. And once again, any tips or advice would be greatly appreciated. Betsy, could we?
Maria, yes, I will jump in on this. My standard answer to all of that is that if I would have known I was going to be starting a business, I would have taken a business class somewhere along the way. I didn't. Thank heavens that my business partner did. So there was some business background to get us started, but it really wasn't anything that was on my radar. I was in journalism. I got into television. I started in television news, worked my way over to television sports, which was really, my passion all along. But it was one of these things, and it's kind of a cliche, and we just went through it, I think, during the pandemic. When 9/11 happened, that was really a time that I think so many of us kind of reevaluated what we were doing, where we were living, were we doing what we thought that we should be doing? And I was at ESPN at the time, and of course it hit us probably a little harder just because it was in our neighborhood. We all went to New York. We had offices in New York. We worked in New York. And so it really became something real and tangible. And I think that when that happened, that's when I kind of said, is this what I want to do? And my mother was living in Southern Indiana at the time, and she was older, and I knew that I needed to go back home and take care of her. And so when that happened, it really kind of accelerated that process. I said, yeah, I really need to get home. And Jackie Rowe, my business partner, and I had been talking in generalities about starting a sports PR company. In Cincinnati, there were huge PR companies. There were other companies who were involved in sports, but nobody was putting it together. And so we thought that there was an opening for us, a niche. And so that's really how we started our company. And I think that the blessing of what is available now through social media and through social channels is that you don't have to wait for someone to hire you. You can use your social channels, and we see it every day. There's a new TikTok star every day. But the beauty of being able to reach an audience through your social channels is that you can position yourself as an expert in whatever the field is, whatever you want to do. You can write blogs, you can do interviews, you can do so many things on your own and get them out there and find an audience. And it really helps to position you as an expert, and it positions you as being passionate about whatever this field is. And, I know of so many people who have taken their idea, not having a 9-to-5 job, but they've taken an idea and they've really been able to make it into a career because of what they have done in social media and what the reach of social media is right now. And so I think that is a wonderful opportunity for so many people who are graduating right now, that if you have a passion for something, you can do something about it. You don't have to wait for somebody to hire you. You can actually find that audience. And so, that's, I think, such an opportunity now. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't take a business class somewhere along the way. That will help. But, it just makes so much of an impact when you're passionate about something and you find that audience that is passionate with you. You can make a living out of it. You can make a career out of it. And then, who knows what happens after that? Someone else may find it. You might get a corporate sponsor. You might get a corporation to actually buy what you're doing. But that's really an opportunity, I think, that so many graduates have right now. If you have a passion for something, go do it and show people that you're an expert in it, and you'll find your audience.
Absolutely. I agree. And thank you for saying that. It's empowering and encouraging as, a soon-to-be graduate, that I can take my career by the reins and do something about building a portfolio, building a brand on social media that is authentic. I think that's super important. And I think that we have a lot of personal agency, having a social media to be able to build a brand and to be able to be ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. Marilou, can we pass it to you now?
You bet. So Betsy, that was super interesting how you talked about your own journey and how you got into the media industry. I was a student at University of North Carolina. I was a student athlete, and little history for everyone. Long before social media, I was enthralled with Ted Turner. And if you go back and look, Ted Turner was innovating in broadcast media as we knew it in a way that was absolutely fascinating, blew my mind. Early days before this was the early days, CNN, ESPN started, MTV, all of that was happening. And Turner Broadcasting is where I knew I wanted to do an internship. Talk about taking charge of your own life and your own circumstance. I wrote them to say, I really would like to be an intern there. They didn't take interns. And I said, you don't understand. I will empty your trash cans to work there. And of course, I didn't mean that literally, but you show a little bit of humility and say, you would do anything to work there. And my internship there the summer before my senior year led to my full-time role there when I graduated as a regional marketing manager, and began my first half of my career in media. They moved me to San Francisco. And I thought, as grown up in Chapel Hill, I thought I wanted to live in Atlanta. They had to talk me into moving to San Francisco, and they said, just go for 2 years. Well, I never looked back. I'm living in the marina, running to the Golden Gate Bridge every day, and decided this was my home and where I was supposed to be. Met my husband. We raised our kids here. I went on after my first half of my career in media to my first startup. And so that's how I got into this industry. So 2009, started an organization called Vivo Girls Sports. And it was to empower girls to keep playing sports by pairing you with a mentor. We were the first real online content where people girls especially, could learn about knee injuries, about female health questions that they had that no one was addressing. Positive Coach Alliance, we had giving advice on what to do if your coach has said something that made you want to quit sports. So it was very, very rewarding. We inspired the launch of ESPNW. And so we did in about 6 months what they had been talking about for 3 years. And I'm still friends with the women who founded it. The summit is happening this week. And at that point, I learned everything really I needed to know about startups. And it has carried me through the last 14, 15 years of my career, to the point where I ended up from there. We sold that company after 2 years to soccer.com, to Sports Endeavors. And then I was literally, it was the universe aligning, because I ended up meeting a company called Sports Board, which was transforming the way that coaches recruit athletes. They were doing it on pen and paper. So we got them onto a really amazing software as a service. I spent 2 years going to all the conferences and working with coaches at academies and NCAA. And then it was along that way that I had that after we sold a company in 2017, I took 6 months to reset. My advice would be that you don't need to plan further than the fog lights will take you, which if you've ever read Adam Grant's book, Think Again, it is full of remarkable advice. I'm such a disciple of his. But you just take advantage of the opportunity and make your own opportunity. If you don't see it, go make it. So we founded Women in Sports Tech. We had IBM Sports was our first, donor back then. I went to CES with a website and a press release, and all of a sudden had a very illustrious board of people. We had our first fellowship class in 2018, and it's just all grown from there. So now what I try to be is a source of very tangible value for employers and also for the women who want to get into this industry. So we start at the high school age by developing content to keep girls in sports and STEM. Goes back to my Vivo experience, because girls quit sports at twice the rate of boys. They quit STEM because of the social stigma. This was me as a high school girl. I loved science and math. I was never encouraged towards it. And then we have our fellowship program, which I'd love to tell everyone about if this is a good time. So, and it comes back to my own summer internship experience, right? We know that summer internship experiences are not equitable. There is not a level playing field. It's often about who your mom or dad knows or where you've grown up. And our mission is very much to provide equitable access to these opportunities. So we have our applications open November 15th. The way the program works is you apply and you choose. Matica has an interesting story that I'd actually, when we get to this, Matica, I'd like you to tell your story. Typically, you come through and you choose a hosted opportunity from one of our partners. And then you apply, we interview you, and then we pair you with the opportunity. You get a one-to-one mentor who's someone in the industry, lots of professional development over the summer, and ongoingly a network of other women working in the industry, because notably, we are half men, half women. I do want to say that this is not just an all women organization, because without the men who are the leaders on the case with us, nothing will change. But what happens through this experience is you build your own network, and all of a sudden it's not an old boys network anymore. The people who are hiring don't just have to draw from the people they played football with in college or whoever their buddies were, because now you have buddies of all gender, all race, all physical abilities. That's very much what this program stands for. So, and then as you graduate from school, everyone, we have the WIST network. So wistnetwork.org is a separate platform altogether that is the single source for diverse hiring in this industry. So that's where HR leaders, talent acquisition people are all looking for talent that is diverse, that is not just like the homogenous group that currently is there, because more innovation comes from more diversity. That's a whole other area of what we do at WIST, is we'll lead fireside chats about demystifying diversity, equity, and inclusivity, and specific steps to build a more inclusive culture. Because it's one thing to just put one diverse person on your team, you're lonely only. But if you're not treating them with the inclusivity like they belong, women won't stay in the industry. If there's not pay equity, if they're not treated equitably to the men on their team. So this is the array of things we do here at Women in Sports Tech that really did all stem from my earlier career, my time as a competitive athlete, coaching my girls when they were young. All of that has really folded into what I've built now at WIST, with a ninja army of people behind them. This is like an amazing global community of people who all want to see change in this industry.
That is absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing that. And while you mentioned Matica, I know we have her on the Zoom. Matica, would you mind sharing your experience with Women in Sports Tech?
Of course, could not speak more highly of the organization. So yeah, like Marilou mentioned, I had kind of a weird story with it, where I had applied to have a hosted opportunity and ended up getting a separate internship, and we were able to kind of combine the two to have my own like self-created internship with the Chicago Blackhawks, while also being a WIST fellow throughout the summer. So basically I kind of like did my internship with the Blackhawks and was able to participate and everything that the fellowship involved throughout the summer. A ton of networking, got to like a couple of the other girls came to Chicago. We like all got ice cream together, like super great like networking, both with other girls our age, which is just incredible to kind of have that network of girls as we're coming up into this industry, but also with professionals already in the industry. So it was a really great experience. Got to meet a ton of great people, feel so much more kind of, I think what I took away from it the most was kind of having this community of other women in sports to kind of go to when maybe I was facing, a gender related issue at work or something. And just kind of building that community, knowing that other women are there, and now having the network to go into when I graduate in the spring. So hopefully that will also come in handy as well. But yeah, cannot speak more highly of WIST as a whole.
Yay, that is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. It definitely puts in perspective for someone like me, the fellow program. I think that is absolutely incredible. So congrats to you for doing that, and sounds like it was amazing and will continue to serve you well moving forward.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, Amy, could we move to you? Just tell us a little bit about, or a bit, about how you got to where you are.
These are such fascinating stories. It's so inspiring to hear the work that everybody's doing. I got some really great advice a long time ago that I'd love to share. Someone once said, do 3 things before you turn 30 that you can talk about at dinner parties and job interviews for the rest of your life. And I thought, wow, that's a tall order, but it's really a good one, because it's great to be mindful of a career track, and it's good to be mindful of, the very practical things. But I think it's also okay to take some risks and to have some adventures and just to do some exciting things that maybe this is the right time to be doing those. I mean, like interning with the Blackhawks, right? Or a number of things. So grab those adventures when you have those opportunities. So I had a little bit of, yes, Marilou says courage before confidence. Absolutely. I mentioned I had a little bit of a roundabout journey. I took some risks after college. I went and volunteered for 3 years after graduation at a Native American boarding school in Santa Fe. It, wasn't career related in particular, but it was a transformative life experience. And then really kind of bounced around as a teacher, a ropes course facilitator. I went to grad school. I got a degree in family counseling before moving into the nonprofit sector for the last 15 years. And I think I just want to echo what Betsy said. You find something that you're really passionate about. You find something that lights you up and that you look forward to doing. And recognize that you are talented. When you're at Notre Dame, you're surrounded by so many talented people that it's really easy to not recognize how talented you are. But a third of the battle is really confidence. It really is. And, girls' confidence peaks at age 9. And then it takes this nosedive. And fortunately, it starts going back up again, and it gets back to where it was at age 9, right around age 21, 22. But it's so important to build that confidence, because if you don't know something, whether it's a startup or whether it's a new job or whatever it is, you have the skills to learn it. That there's a way that you can go out and you can figure it out, because the other third of it is perseverance. Marilou asking for an internship and just sticking with that. And so you've got the confidence, you've got the perseverance. And then I think it's so important to make connections, to leverage that network, to look to other women and men as well. But to ask for advice, because people love giving advice. People love being asked for their journey, their expertise. And so it's a fantastic foot in the door just to talk to somebody and say, hey, I'd love to ask for your advice. And then you never know where it's going to go. You can say, who else can you connect me with? Who else should I talk to when I'm passionate about this, or when I'm interested in getting into that field? So I think, the path is not going to be linear no matter what. I don't think any of us said, oh, I'm going to end up exactly here, and this is exactly, where we've ended up. So when your path does take a turn, if you're in a job that you realize you don't love, or if you fail, when you fail, because, you know, that's going to happen. Don't fret about it. It's part of the process. I think everyone's going to have more than one career. So you don't have to think about, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? You can just say, what do I want to do for the next few years, and see what, you know, I'm in a position now. I've been with Girls on the Run for 15 years. And I'm starting to think about, what is my next? How do I want to continue to grow? What do I want to do to contribute that is in line with my passions? And so just think about, what do I want to do right now? What do I want to do next? And how can I have some adventures and, you know, just go forward with confidence.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Even in my very, very short professional career in sports, I have had many different chapters of things that I thought I wanted to do, and things that I thought I wanted to pursue, or experiences that I thought would be the end all be all. And, you know, you just have to live it and learn it in order to figure it out. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's so inspiring and comforting to hear that. Kristin, can we pass it over to you?
Sure. So I'm gonna follow you, Amy, with that same very similar message. In college, I never would have imagined I'd be doing the career that I have today. And so here's my advice: follow the spirit. Follow the spirit. Be open. Be open to talking with others. Network. Just like we're doing here today. And so the way I got involved in my job was when I returned to the South Bend area, I just started networking, and the strength of the Notre Dame community is really powerful. And don't stop networking, you know, keep networking and find where you you have a fit and where you find your passion. So when I first got my opportunity, it was really like I got my foot in the door. And so that's also my advice. Try to get your foot in the door somewhere. When I started with Play Like a Champion, my position was only 10 hours a week. I mean, that was all the resources that were available. And so I jumped in. I was able to accept that kind of position. And then I had the opportunity to grow it from the ground floor. And so follow the spirit. Don't be so set in one way that I know I want to end up here, but follow the spirit, be open, and network. And so speaking of networking, we are putting together an internship description for Play Like a Champion for this coming summer. And we'll be sharing that with Annie. And it will be an opportunity to work with us to plan our annual. We have a June sports leadership conference every year at Notre Dame. And so it will be getting in the nitty gritty of planning and executing that conference. It's an incredible experience. We also can connect you with some of our MARA, our Michiana Athletic and Recreation Association partners, if you are interested in working directly with a community sports partner. And then finally, we're offering a summer course this summer called Youth Sports for Social Justice: Coaching, Mentoring, and Community Organization. And that's going to be offered through ESS and also be part of the SMAC. We're working on getting that organized. And so you can look for those things to come if there's any interest in doing something here locally.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those opportunities. I'm definitely going to check those out. And at this point, I'd love to turn it over to any questions from our student and professor gallery to see if there's anything specific that they have to ask our lovely guests. I could certainly ask you all questions all evening, but I want to make sure that everyone who's visiting us tonight gets their questions answered if they have anything to ask. So guests, feel free to either just jump in or use the hand raise feature on Zoom, and I can call on you. I also have more questions too, so I can continue there if there are no questions at the time.
While we're waiting to see if any questions pop up, I'll mention that Girls on the Run here is local and to near South Bend and Notre Dame. And we have a 5K internship opportunity with our 5K director. If anyone is interested in helping to plan the most girl-spirited 5K for 1,200 3rd to 5th graders in the South Bend area, would love to share a little bit more with you about that.
Yes, Professor Coleman.
I have a question. I'm just curious for our panelists. Does it matter what major you are if you want to go into the sports industry? and what would you have students think about like in school as undergrads?
I think, I guess, may I jump in? What I would suggest is, depending on where you're drawn, like where's your passion, where is it that you feel like you would like to be in the next 3 to 5 years, not 20 years, 3 to 5 years. And try to learn those skills that could be applicable. I can tell you in our industry, any class that you can take in data science, data analytics is going to bode you well no matter what you do next. I just listened, every one of us is managing data every day. So that's kind of a core skill that I wish I'd had, frankly. I have a business degree that was very helpful, I would say, in terms of starting and running the businesses that I've run. But I work with so many people who do not have that degree. They have international studies, or, some schools don't have a sport management program. You all are very lucky that you have access to amazing education for the sports business. That's right. Shameless plug for SMAC. But I would say that you can do with this degree any number of things in our industry. So I don't know if that answers your question, Annie, but this degree they're getting there at Notre Dame literally positions you all to do any number of things in this industry. Technical or non-technical, right? But even the non-technical roles I see require technology, comfort around data, comfort around, a lot of these things. Whoops. Oh, I am so sorry. That is my daughter, Darcy, who works at Nike. She doesn't know we're here. It helped introduce the Luna boot for the World Cup this summer. Now she's at women's running. Amy, I'm happy to tell you that. We're all runners in this family, so I'm very familiar with Girls on the Run. I love what you do.
Fantastic. Thank you. I would add that I think there's so much people skills involved in any career that it's really important to have. Just, don't neglect the ability to manage other people, to interact with other people. If there's a class in management or a psychology class, or just some way to make sure that there's the people skills also, that's hugely important.
Amazing. All right,
100%.
Annalena, I see a hand from Annalena. Would you like to go?
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I was just wondering if you guys and just your organizations have any particular issues within like sports and gender that are kind of current in your minds or in the news that you are like aiming to address, or just particular issues that like have really been on your minds as it relates to what you do, that you would like to be able to do something about through the avenues of your programs.
So I have a response for that, Annalena, because I was actually going to bring that up. I as part of Play Like a Champion, we do coach training all over the country. And so I was in Mississippi, and often youth and high school coaches are male. Usually the stats are about 75% male, 25% female. And so I'm doing this training in Mississippi, and this football coach after the training comes up and he says, if you were a man, I might have listened to you. And so I think you probably will encounter ignorance like that. And so going back to what Amy said, don't let it kill your confidence. Right? Just, be yourself, be confident, be sure that you belong in that room. You belong right there. And so one of the things that we've done to respond to this in unequal, like more male coaches, and we know that it's going to be good for kids to be coached by women. It's a leadership role for women, and for women to coach boys as well as girls. And so we've initiated a national campaign that we call #WeChampionFemaleCoaches. And we put a charge out there and a challenge to all of our partners: recruit female coaches, recruit women to coach for you. And over the last couple of years in our partnerships, because of the data we crunch, we've gone from that 25% female coaches to this year was 37% female coaches. So we're climbing. We still got room to go. We have a ways to go. But every year at our conference, we do something to really encourage women to coach, women to get in this space, women to be athletic directors. That's the leadership role for athletics. And so this year, I just got off the phone earlier today with a woman who started the Women's Coaching Alliance. And she has a program where she recruits high school girls to coach at the younger levels. So they're coaching elementary school kids, and she trains them. She gives them a mentor coach so that they mentor them on how they coach the physical skills. And then she gives them a leader mentor, which helps them to interact with the girls in a positive way. And she's training female coaches and getting them involved. And she also pays them. She's raised enough money to give them a little bit of a stipend for their coaching. And so she's coming to our conference to share her vision. And I anticipate several of our partners are going to say, yeah, let's do that in our city. So we're going to scale this. We're going to grow this so that we can see more female coaches with the young people.
And I think that that's such a good point, because I truly believe, the old adage about, if you can see it, you can be it. And I think it's so important for all of us. I mean, we are women who are in leadership positions. And I think that's the strongest message that we can put out there. I mean, we have 14 people in our company, and 13 of them are women. And we always say, because we need to get stuff done. Which is kind of true. And, it's kind of funny, but it is so important for young girls to see us in leadership roles. And if they see it, they can be it. If they see someone who looks like them doing what they want to do, then it becomes real. And so I think it is just so important to have that. Will there be obstacles? Absolutely. Will there be men who will not listen to you? Absolutely. We are not at that point yet. It is a fight that I don't know will ever be totally done. But I think it's just so important to raise up that next generation. Let them see women leaders in business, in sports, in athletics, in leadership positions, in broadcasting. Let them see women. If they can see someone who looks like them doing what they want to do, then it becomes real. And then it gives them an opportunity to think, I can do that too. So, I think that what we all are doing here is just so important, just to give that example.
And I would add, just to piggyback on what Betsy said, the gig is up a little bit for guys, for men who are leaders who are, I think the kind way to describe it is they're insecure, right, in their own space, and that makes them intimidated or behave in a bullying way towards women. Well, the reality is talent today will not want to work for your organization. This is where all of you have a vote in this. You go work where there are women leaders who can be your role models. You can see there's a path to promotion. So what's happening, I am very optimistic for all of you entering this industry, because that type of behavior that's not inclusive or tries to minimize you as a woman, or not forgive your mistake, because everyone's going to make mistakes. Back to what we said earlier, fail forward fast. But I believe that the best companies today will have to have, there is a demand right now to have more diverse talent, because the best talent won't work for you if you are not. I mean, it just speaks for itself. You can go work wherever you want. You don't have to work for a jerk anymore. You just don't. You might, but then we're here for you when that happens, and you learn a lot, and you're already planning your next step.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I just want to add briefly, first of all, I'm so inspired by everything that you ladies have shared in response to that question. But particularly, I wanted to echo what Betsy said about seeing is believing. And I had the incredible honor of shadowing Betsy's team this summer, working for the LPGA. And she gave me a wonderful opportunity to do some interviews with the tournament director of the Queen City Championship. And I will just tell you, it was truly one of the premier experiences of my life to be surrounded by such an uplifting and inspiring and encouraging, pretty much all female operations and production and talent team. And I have a photo from that event that I look at all the time that inspires me to go be better, be kinder to my female coworkers, and uplift them in the ways that I felt uplifted this summer. So I want to thank you very emphatically here.
Well, thank you. My staff was very impressed with you too. So thank you so much.
You're the best. Dorothy, I'd love to get to your question now.
Hey, well, first I want to say thank you to all the wonderful women on this panel, and to say thank you in a special way to Annie, who was so open when I said career development really wants to dig in to creating more opportunities in sports for Notre Dame students. And one of the key areas that I keep hearing again and again out in Los Angeles is asking for women alumni who are wanting to work in sports. It happens that my husband works for the NFL. Routinely, they get asked, do we have women who want to work behind the scenes at the NFL Network, at the NFL? And the answer is uniformly yes. And I think many of those women are at Notre Dame. When I expressed not only interest in digging into this, but specifically having a panel on women, the response was the floodgates were open. So I would like to ask the panelists if they would be open to remaining in touch and to providing their expertise beyond summer internships, but also advice for early career graduates where there is definitely a need for mentorship. And if we can continue to have a further community built that we will take and build from your names, I hesitate to say it this way, but a hit list, if you will, of contacts for those of us that are wanting to build this for students to reach out to, as they say, I need someone to recommend me for an internship. Here's my resume. Or I need someone to help me with this application. I'm applying for a fellowship. I think we can build it. And if you all are willing, I know that the Career Development Center will definitely be willing to assist both SMAC and Annie and all those looking for a career in this area. So I hope you all agree to stay in touch.
100%. Of course, we'll stay in touch. I'm happy to stay in. This is my favorite thing of my whole work that I do right now. So it reminds me to please share with you all. We have the oopsie. So through our process with the fellowship program, we recognize some women need help. Some students need help with resumes and LinkedIn and how to get a good letter of recommendation, how to prepare for an interview. So I'm just going to put this in the chat for everyone because this is content that I think should be super helpful for everyone.
Dorothy, I'm in.
Awesome. I will tell you, I really do believe that Notre Dame it has such a wonderful wealth of talent that we just need to further lean in and expose, because I believe that we should be dominant in the area of sports careers for men and for women. And we also have a number of male allies that I have lined up as alums. So we have the support. We have the ability to scale this, as Kristin said, and to build this, as Amy said. And I would like to continue to see this expand so that we can increase the numbers for the SMAC minor, but also so that we in turn then are able to give a lift to the next generation coming in, so that each year we will see more and more alums saying, yes, I'm happy to recommend. And we will scale this panel and this network into becoming something really meaningful for Notre Dame students interested in this particular industry.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Yeah, Dorothy, thank you so much for that. And thank you to all of our panelists for sharing your experiences with us. It was an absolute honor and an absolute privilege to learn from you and to moderate tonight's conversation. And thank you to all of our gallery of guests who joined us tonight. We hope you enjoyed our conversation. I know I did. And I'm going to turn it over to Annie for any other closing remarks.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Maria, you did a fabulous job. We really appreciate you moderating this. We'll have another amazing student moderator for our November 14th panel. I think I would just like to add on to that last discussion about community and networking to say that, yes, panelists, I know where I know your email addresses. I wrote them down. I'll be making a database, and we'll love to keep in touch with you. As a standing rule, I tell all the alums that I meet, and I'll reiterate this to you, whenever you're on campus, if you would like to sit down with students, let me know. We can make that happen. We'll arrange an alumni SMAC chat. We can do it in a group or just one of you or a collection. And mark your calendars. The Friday afternoon before the Blue Gold game, which is usually late April, is when we have our annual SMAC Fest, which is a presentation of celebrating the students in the SMAC minor, celebrating alumni who want to come and participate. This year, the focus of the SMAC Fest will be our senior thesis, our senior capstone presentations. There'll be 10 or 12 of them, really amazing projects across a wide diversity of topics and approaches. But we'll also have opportunity to socialize and to talk to alumni and to meet faculty as well. So put that on your calendars, and I'll reach out to you. And thank you again so much. We appreciate you, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Great
you.
to meet you all.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, everyone.
You.
Thank you.